Hello friends, this is Niels and welcome back to another video. So today we're gonna be taking a look at something that has risen a lot in popularity lately and has been heavily requested to make a video on. That'll be the Pyroclasm Sunken's Blessing, Venthyr Fire. The particular build has turned out to be insanely strong and potentially the strongest single target spec in the game at the moment. Starting off, let's talk about what has changed and why the legendary is now viable. For those of you who remember, I had actually crafted this legendary on the live servers a couple of months ago. However, it ended up getting vaulted simply to the amount of bugs it had at the time. The legendary says it requires 8 water consumptions to be triggered, but for a long while it used to be 9, as well as flame strikes not counting towards either stack generation or combustion trigger, leaving you with only Pyroblast contributing towards the legendary, which made the playstyle feel very clunky on a lot of aspects of the game. In terms of talents, this is the build that you want to be running. Searing Touch, Simmer, Rune of Power, Flame On, and Frenetic Speed. The last two rows depend on the type of content you're doing. When it comes to raiding, you want to be running Conflagration, Pyroclasm, and in content like Mythic Plus you want to be running Flame Patch and Killing. In terms of racials, I think considering Venthyr operates under a 2-minute combustion, Orc is probably the best choice as it aligns perfectly with every single combustion. However, if you were to play NightFae, Roll is probably going to give you more value. When it comes to stat weights, I cannot really tell you an exact value on haste, but you want to prioritize haste for sure until a 26 to 28% mark has been achieved. This mage is sadly a little bit undergeared, so you cannot play around with stat weights enough to tell you. However, I think 26 to 28 is going to give you 1 extra pyro, about 28% crit, paired with combined with the Forbidden Necromantic Tome, and a mixture of mastery and versatility. Your best trinket is Shadow Orb Torment from Remnant and Forbidden Necromantic Tome. When it comes to fire, Theotar is by far the best soulbind to go for. Umbrella gives you 12% mastery for 12 seconds. If aligned properly with your combustion windows, it can provide an insane DPS increase. On this row, I would play Double Door of Shadows, however this could be handy in some situations. When it comes to potency conduits, your best one is obviously Infernal Cascade. Control Destruction per single target, swap this out for Master of Flame for AoE, and Siphon Malice. On this row, both of these soulbinds are viable. I would say Tea Time is very good for raiding, as it provides a decent amount of self-healing and passive damage reduction. However, for Mythic Plus, I would just go for Speed and Avoidance. In some raid fights, Avoidance could also be better than this, however I think it's situational and boss dependent. Party Favors, another very strong soulbind. Ideally you wanna go for 3% intellect. If you don't get that, I think 3% haste is pretty good, but it will always depend on your off stats and what you need at the same time. So just sim your character and for the most part follow the sim. If you don't get a good buff, you just reroll it. Let's have a look at our opener burst and how to combo everything together as a Venthyr. As always, you're gonna precast the Pyroblast at 4 seconds of the pull timer, followed by a Mirrors of Torment cast into a Fire Blast into your Shadow Orb Torment. I will explain the reason why you don't precast Shadow Orb Torment in a second. So as you can see here, our mirrors are gonna proc, we're gonna get our Fire Blast back and we're gonna be back to 3 stacks with a hot streak. If you get lucky with a Pyroblast crit, you are gonna have a Pyro ready here. However, that's also fine. So, mirrors proc, we have 1 stack of Siphon Malice going into our combustion. So I'm gonna cast Fire Blast, followed by the combustion Fire Blast. I'm very lucky and I get the Pyroclasm proc right here, so I'm gonna quickly head over to 2 stacks of Infernal Cascade. As you can see, I get a second Pyroclasm proc here. So I'm just gonna hardcast my first Pyroblast in my combustion with Pyroclasm. I'm gonna do Fire Blast so I don't overcap. So what you will notice here is, however, I have 2 Pyroclasm charges, I don't blow my second one. And that is because of the reason, if I hardcast a second Pyroblast, I'm not gonna be able to stack my Sunkings fast enough to have it ready for my second combustion. This is a Pyroblast counter on the left, and this is the Sunken's Blessing counter on the right. As you can see, I'm currently at 6 stacks with 3 seconds left on Pyro, which means that if I casted one Pyroblast with a Pyroclasm effect, I would not be able to go into my Psychic's Blessing directly. So I'm just gonna dump my rest of my procs here into the Combustion. And now I'm gonna cast my Rune of Power. As you can see, Psychic's Blessing is up and we have a Pyroclasm to go into the Combustion. So the reason, as I said earlier, why you wanna cast Mirrors of Torment first or the Shadow of Torment, as you can see right now, we're 8 seconds here on our Siphon Malice. Basically, that way, by pre-casting Mirrors of Torment before the orb, your very last buff with 3 stacks of Siphon Malice is gonna align for your Psychic's Blessing Combustion. It is not perfectly demonstrated here because it's a dummy and Mirrors just proc instantly when it's off internal cooldown. In a realistic boss fight, the boss would probably attack like 1 to 2 seconds later, and this one would pretty much be a lot more accurate. So I'm just runing, and I'm gonna hardcast a Pyroblast, which will put me into Combustion. So I just want you to pay some attention here. Just as I cast my Pyroblast, I'm gonna go into Combustion, and I'm instantly gonna Fire Blast to get 1 stack of my Infernal Cascade for this big Pyro, and then followed by instantly another Pyro. So in this situation right here, if my haste was a bit higher, as I said, this character is kinda scuffed and I don't really have a lot of haste, I would use one of my Pyroclasms on this Pyro right here. However, because my haste is not high enough, I choose to just dump the rest of my procs into... We managed to get 15 Pyroblasts in this Combustion, which is pretty good. Now I still have 2 Pyroclasms to dump. And at this point, your very next Psychic's Blessing is gonna be without a Rune of Power, as it is still on cooldown. Like you can see, I'm just at 3 stacks now. I'm going to 8 stacks. This is something that I would advise here, which I'm also gonna make the mistake of, as you can see as well. On this exact situation right here, where you have Psychic's Blessing, but you have no Fire Blast charges, I would just keep on casting a couple of more Fireballs to pull some Fire Blast charges for the second Combustion. Well, for the Psychic's Combustion rather. However, in this particular scenario, I go straight into my Pyro, which is a minor mistake. Because as you can see now, I don't really have Fire Blast to get a second stack of Cascade, and I don't really have any damage. And that's about it. After that, you just keep on doing your rotation. Our Rune of Power is coming up in 5 seconds. We need 4 more hot streaks. So the next Psychic's Blessing Combust is gonna be with Rune of Power, and you just keep on doing the same thing again and again. Another thing that I would like to talk about pretty shortly, but I think is very important, is how to actually chain Combustions. In order to properly chain your Combustions, you can only go from an actual Combustion into a Psychic's Blessing Combustion. I will stack the duration of both of them. If you do it the other way around, activating Legendary and then pressing your Combustion, it's not gonna work out. You're just gonna go to a maximum of 12 seconds and it's gonna override the active Psychic's Blessing Combust. So this is an example of a properly chained Combustion. So as you can see, Combustion is active and Psychic's Blessing is ready. Pyroblast is being hardcasted and it will successfully extend the duration of my active Combustion. In the other scenario, as you can see, activating your normal Combustion, where your Psychic's Blessing Combust is active, will just completely override the effect, return you to 12 seconds, and you will just lose the extra time from the proc. Lastly, the topic of discussion, NightFae versus Venthyr. So I think in terms of rating, it comes down strictly to timers. If 2 minutes are favorable, both on boss timers and kill timer, Venthyr is definitely gonna pull ahead, especially on single target. I think Venthyr Fire is up there on S tier when it comes to single target, especially if you can get a PI, as you get insane value out of it. However, as we're going forward and the kill timers get shorter, more gear comes in, Fire with NightFae will probably be better due to the nature of very low cooldowns. Also, NightFae provides you with AoE, since Venthyr doesn't really have much AoE. And if you're a Mythic Plus player outside of the raid, the NightFae's value is way bigger. So Both are valuable. At the end of the day, it comes down to what you want. If you're just like strictly playing for the raid, you care about like popping single target deeps, Venthyr. If not, switch to NightFae. However, recently, for those of you who don't know, a new sort of build has risen. It's Arrested Raids with Kyrian and Kindred Spirits Legendary. For those of you who don't know, basically the Legendary gives you a certain amount of stats based on your Covenant. NightFae get haste, so if you have a Kyrian Arrested Raid giving you Kindred Spirits on every Combustion, the value is insane. I'm actually gonna pull a graph right here so you can see. Actually, Fire has the best and most value out of Kindred Spirits, like by far, and it's not even close. So this is also something to consider, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what you would like to play. Both of them are viable, and both of them are good. Anyway guys, I think I covered everything in this video. In case I forgot something in typical Nils fashion, just feel free to drop a comment below, or if you have any questions, drop a comment below and I will be glad to help. In case you found this video helpful and you liked it, consider to drop a like and subscribe, as it will help me out a lot. And once again, if you need anything, just drop a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, peace out.